Aries. So this is the third in this series we are doing. This video is for Aries who are blocked creatively. Let's get into it. So can I please have the nature of the block for Aries that are currently creatively blocked? Now, as I said in the other videos, this is not time sensitive. I'm recording this on October 9th. But I'm asking that the energy be valid for whenever the person who watches it. So may I please have the nature of the block for Aries who feel creatively blocked? Ooh, oh my God, came up. This is crazy. This came up for love too. So you, my friends, as well. So love, creation, all kind of comes from the same space, making something. You too are in a transformative moment. Now, whether this is, we'll see what your lesson is, because that transformation can come in many ways. Now, that is the Death card. So it means that we're moving from one space into another, from one realm into another. Could be leveling up, could be shape-shifting, could be getting in touch with different forms of creativity. You may even be moving into, you see how this one has like all sorts of different instruments, you know, it's like, so perhaps before you were one kind of artist or performing one form of creativity, and now you're shifting into something else. But while you see these violet flames here, those mean that this transformation is protected by the universe, as those violet flames are there to keep you safe. So you may be blocked, but it is, and this sort of like all these different shapes are unfolding. As you see, the person like sort of dipping down into that energy, you know, sort of like reaching into a new energy, and all these like sort of options coming up here. So there is a moment of transformation. Let's see what the lesson is. What is the lesson that this creative block is bringing? What lesson is this creative block bringing to our Aries friends? What is the lesson this transformation wants to bring through? No, I won't take any of them. What lessons are Aries who are creatively blocked? What is the lesson? All right, I'll take that one. Growth. Lovely. Very, very, very lovely. And you see they have these kind of like snakes kind of things. You know, they could be like plants or whatever. But the images here are echoed here. So this block is about growth. You know, literally can't get any more clear than that. And you know, it's also like leveling up here as it moves from what is growing underneath the water to above. So it looks like there's also a transformation in your audience, transformation in your visibility. So not necessarily in what you do, although perhaps you are expanding your repertoire, but there is a very clear moment of coming up above the water, you know, so like that which was growing underneath now starts to become a plant, not necessarily of the water, but also of this atmosphere. So sort of changing dimensions, growing into new environments, growing into new levels of visibility. Can we have 3 cards, please, to give us an idea of what the story is of this block? Oh. Okay, so 2 and 3 of Swords. So there may have been some confusion that's causing you a tremendous... This confusion looks like it's causing you a tremendous amount of stress and sort of heartbreak, because perhaps you've been very much in your head. Will I be able to do it? Okay, sorry, one sec. you know, will I be able to do it? I don't know which way to go. Maybe also some drawing on past pains, or maybe some actual like heartbreak keeping you blocked from putting those down and seeing what's actually going around. Now let's get one more card, please. Can I have one more card for what the story of this block is? You know what? There's like so many cards, I'm not going to take them. Too many. I did see the Emperor pop out. Can I have one more card there, please, for the story of this creative block? What is the story of this creative block? Did you maybe even think that, like, you're going to have to move away from it? Or you think that you're not going to be successful? Or that it's not going to grow? Oh. Okay. So, you know, it's interesting here. It's like these cards kind of tell, like this side kind of tells like a stressful situation. And then there's this like sort of beautiful, everything, you know, this is growth. That's it. 10 of Cups, full emotional satisfaction. Doesn't get it any better than this in terms of that which makes you happy. There's this beautiful rainbow here. So I feel like you may be stuck in a moment of stress, very worried about how this unfolds, worried that it's going to get worse. This confusion is only going to get worse, only going to get more painful. Are there too many options that you're not able to pick? Are you worried about having too many options? And what it's suggesting here, you know, in the multiplicity is that you don't have to pick one. You know, perhaps is there a way of being multimedia, of integrating different tools, of experimenting with different pieces? Can you make a garden? You know, this is like a garden growing out of the water, right? And now it's moving into a different thing. But they're all different plants, but yet together they have one piece that unites them. They're all together in the same tank, but they're all very different. So, you know, if there's any sort of issues about feeling like you have to choose one over the other, or worried about like having too many things to choose from, there's a suggestion that actually the more the merrier. Can you find a way to sort of integrate them, put these things in a row, put different pieces together to make something cohesive, even if at the same time they look like they're very different? You know, they're all sort of expressions. Now, I'm actually going to clarify that Three of Swords there. Why is this Three of Swords here on the table, please? What's this Three of Swords about? What is this Three of Swords about? What's causing this Three of Swords here? What's causing this Three of Swords, please? I noticed this deck stops talking when it doesn't have anything else to say. So I'm going to give it 3 more shuffles and then I'm just going to leave it here. So one more. What's this Three of Swords about? 2. Oh, okay. I'm going to take the top one. So here's what the concern is, right? It's about this pushing through, about this visibility, about what happens when the sun shines on you. And look, there's the plants again, you know. It's like, so are some of you afraid to step onto or into the limelight? Are you afraid of what happens when actually your talents grow? Are you afraid of, you know, I say this sometimes in my readings, that we're as afraid of fear, or we have this equal fear of failure as we do of success. And so this seems to be like this moment of, it's time to come up out of the water, to be visible, to bask in sort of this sunlight. This is a really turn, because this is like right here in between. That as the sun shines on you, the sunflower grows with the sun on it. So as you grow into a bigger expression of yourself, thanks to putting light onto your talents or onto your creativity, it starts to grow into something much bigger than you'd imagined or expected or hoped for, so it's like there is cause for, there isn't cause for worry. There is this clear state of anxiety here that's about taking this step. What happens if I take that step? Will I be good enough? I'm going to feel like I'm naked on stage, or, it's tough being a creative because someone, I think it was Sting, that said that like all of your creations feel like children, and nobody wants somebody to tell them that their children are ugly. And so you can feel often like you're naked in front of the world when you put your creative products out there. But you see these children grow up very beautifully and happy and healthy, and there's more than that. There's more than one, so this, you don't have to be afraid about putting your work into the light, into the visibility of others. Let me see. This has been good on the divinations, this deck here. So let me see. Where can Aries who are blocked creatively, where can they look for answers? Okay, I'm going to take the top one. Amazing. That's really funny. Look what came up. The flower, right? We've been talking about blooming and growing. Now it says fickle. Okay, so let's read what that means. I'm curious to see what that means. This says, if you have been playing games with someone's emotions, even your own, the Flowers card has come to ask you to make up your mind before you lose what could be a great relationship, possibly just exactly what you have been hoping for. Take stock of your behavior. Are you devoted 1 minute, then backing off the next, leaving things totally up in the air? Your lack of decisiveness is affecting happiness. Now is the time to, that's interesting. That's it. That's that harp, this is like leading here, what it could be leading here. Okay, now is the time to look at the root of the problem. Fear. I said that. Ask yourself, what exactly are you scared of? So the incantation is, should I stay or should I go? To be happy or feel woe. Oh, to be in such a pickle. Decision made. I'm no longer fickle. Right? So that's what this transformation is about. It's also choosing which one of those spaces do you want to be in. And this has been coming up a lot. The duality of things. This is kind of in the middle. One can go here and one can go there. Let's read the rest of this. It says, stop giving others the runaround. Make the first move. Be clear about what or whom you really want. Okay. But the answer will be, look at how many flowers come up. It's amazing when they're so nice and tight like this. You have daisies here. You have roses here. We have sunflowers here. We have wheat here and all sorts of other good things. So I would say, like kind of surround your house in flowers, or objects of beauty, things that speak to you, that make you feel comfortable, that fill you up with that sort of life joy, that life energy. That would be my bit of advice. that bring you more into this sense of beauty and out of this sense of anxiety. Let's get from this Vortex deck, what can our Aries who are creatively blocked do to get themselves more into this positive side of energy? What can they do to get into the positive side of energy? What message for Aries to help them? Okay. My life is about my relationships. Okay. You will never find yourself in a point in time when the subject of relationships is not an active part of your new or your now experience. For everything you perceive or notice or know is because of your relationship with something else. Without a comparative experience, you would be unable to perceive or focus any kind of understanding within yourself. Therefore, it is accurate to say that without relationships, you would not exist at all. Okay, so, but this is kind of like about I don't think it's necessarily about romantic relationships. Could be about partnerships, collaborations, if you're thinking about, who to collaborate with. It suggests that there is a partner who could potentially take this to the next level. But it's also about, relationship is interaction here, and a comparative experience. I had to know what it was like to be underwater in order to know what it's like to feel the air, And so, especially as artists that draw so frequently off their own pain, I had to know what heartbreak was in order to transmute it, turn it into something of great beauty that could shine under the sun. I always think, I've said it multiple times, when you have like artists like The Cure or Adele who suffer tremendous heartbreak and they're able to turn it into these powerful creative articulations. They make these very powerful songs that stick with us for decades. And I always have been jealous about that ability to be able to, because most of us just get the pain, and we don't we're not able to turn it into a product of beauty that brings emotion and feeling to everyone else. However, artists and creative people are armed with this capacity to be able to draw on these feelings and turn them into something really beautiful. So I feel like part of the key phrase that pops out about this to me is the comparative experience. So if you've come out of a bad relationship or a heartbreaking experience, how does that, you see how this kind of like feeds into it? Right? Like if I lined it up properly, there we go. You see how that can become the top there, right? Those three swords can either pierce your heart or they can feed the sun, and I feel like that's kind of, how do you capitalize on, and capitalize, I don't mean monetize, I mean, how do you transmute that into that, and understanding that experience was not, you were not meant to stay underwater. You were meant to grow and shine above, and blossom like a flower. Now, let me get one last thing. This deck is kind of, I'm going to just put a disclaimer here. This is an unusual deck. It's the Artist's Oracle. Sometimes it's helpful, sometimes it's a little wonky. So let's see what we can get here. I do like it though. I think it's quirky and I like original creations here. So, for our Aries who are blocked creatively, where can they find inspiration and advice? Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay. I'll take the top one. So Yayoi Kusama, I don't know if you know her. She actually has a mental, and this is, you know, talking about how to turn that into that. You know, she has a mental illness that in one way has sort of fed this work that she does that has made her so very famous. So it says, your soul is composed of the same dots of the universe. Distinguish yourself from your mirror image, which is interesting because we were talking about the relationship, you know, and the comparative experience, and sort of kind of like looking at yourself also in a mirror. So distinguish yourself from your mirror image and show them your hallucinations. So it's like, I think that's actually really quite interesting. It's like the stuff that you may have been trying to hide or run away from or stop thinking about, that may be the fruit of this, or the seed of this sun, you know, or the seed that the sun has been waiting. Now that I've lined this up, I can't look at them differently. So there may be more richness in that which you've been trying to run away from than you imagine. And perhaps it is time to take the seeds of that which may have dragged you underwater and transform them into something that can be seen by the rest of the world, and grow into something really beautiful and powerful and strong that brings happiness it brings happiness and a sense of beauty to all who look at it. Okay, I hope this was helpful. I will see you next time.